Winning the lottery is probably everyone's dream, but they do say everything in life also comes with a cost. What if that cost was your life? What would you do if you made a pact with your friends that you would split the lottery winning if you ever happened to win? Would you really? Or would you take back your promises? This is an unbelievable story about a woman who hit the jackpot, but came with a hefty price of backstabs, jealousy, lies, lawsuits, and even almost losing her life. By the way, I got microneedling on my face yesterday, so I have no face makeup on. And at the end of the video, I would love to know your opinion if you sympathize with today's main character. If you think that she lied or went back on her promise, or did the other people, her coworkers, lie out of greed? Like this video. A super thanks, because it does take so much time to put one video together, but I love sharing these cases because any of these stories can happen to us. Thank you for supporting GRAZY TV, and let's get back to the story. So back in 1999, at the town of Grand Bay in Alabama, there was something called Waffle House. It's like the concept of a diner in America, kind of like IHOP. So people will go there in the mornings before work or during the weekends, get their coffee, get their breakfast, really get close to the waiters and waitresses, read your newspaper. So it was very like a social thing back then, unlike today's world where we're on our phones. There was a regular at the Waffle House in Alabama, and his name was Edward Seward. He has been a customer for many years, and he was actually a retired restaurant manager himself. He knew how hardworking waiters and waitresses were, and it seems like, according to his friends, Edward was described as a very giving man. He did have a stroke that paralyzed his right arm, which made him retire. So again, coming to the Waffle House for years, being a regular, he did have some kind of a bond with these waiters. Edward had a funny way of tipping his waiters and waitresses. He actually sometimes tipped them with lottery tickets. Now, fun fact, which I didn't know as well, lottery in some certain states is illegal because it is considered as a form of gambling. And in Alabama, gambling is illegal. So what you would have to do is travel to other states, purchase a ticket there, and I guess that's okay, and you can come back to your state, but you would have to claim the ticket from that state that you have bought it from. So a week before the March 6th Florida lottery drawing, he would travel to Florida and purchase multiple tickets for his friends and families, including the Waffle House workers. He would purchase 5 tickets for the Waffle House waiters and waitresses, which equaled about $25. And it seemed like this wasn't just a joke. He was pretty serious because he would write down each of the waiters and waitresses' names, the 5 people's names, put the lottery tickets in an envelope and hand it out to them. Like these days, do you have any relationships with the waiters and waitresses that you go to? I guess if you're a regular, but these days, again, this is a very rare thing. So it kind of showed you like what kind of a bond he really did have with these Waffle House staff. Now on March 6th, 1999, he was at the Waffle House again, enjoying his breakfast, and he gave out the first 3 tickets to the 3 waiters that was there. The first 3 waiters and waitresses were Dino, Tisdale, and Adams. That night, the Florida lottery drawing happened, and unfortunately, their tickets was not a match. Now, to win a lottery, at least in today's numbers, it's like 1 in a billion or something. You're more likely to get struck by a lightning than win the lottery. So in 1999, at least in Florida, at least still, it was like 1 in a million chance. Now, the next day, Mr. Edward went into the Waffle House again, and there were 2 more waitresses that was there. I guess that wasn't there in the previous day. And still, even though the lottery drawing happened the night before, he decided to hand out the lottery tickets he bought for them. The 2 remaining waitresses was Farley and Tonda Dickerson. Tonda was a 28-year-old waitress. She actually had been previously divorced. She had a 9-year-old child, but she was remarried currently to a man named James. They were living in a trailer. They were not well off. And it's actually interesting that Mr. Edward, he didn't even peek into the other waitresses' tickets, which meant that he was pretty adamant about giving it to them. It was a gift. And I feel like that's pretty generous because a lot of people would probably peek into all of the tickets and see if they won before handing it out. And how serious this lottery gifting thing was for everybody. Now, by the way, before Edward gave out these tickets, there was a catch. Him and others who received the tickets allegedly claim Edward wanted everybody to share the winning money equally and to buy him a pickup truck. That was his 2 conditions. Now, I'm sure you guys personally have done something like this where you bought a lottery ticket and with your family or your friends, you were like, if we win something today, I'm gonna share it with you or give you 10%. I am pretty sure most of us, 99% of us, set it as like a fun jokingly way, like, yeah, like I'm gonna win, right? So it could have been that kind of talk, or it could have been a serious thing. March 7th, the day after drawing, the 2 remaining waitresses decided to check their ticket after their shift. The first waitress checked her ticket. Not a winning ticket. The second waitress, Tonda Dickerson, now decided to open up her envelope and check the numbers. Now, I believe she checked it with all the coworkers inside of the Waffle House after their shift. And as Tonda checked her ticket, guess what? It was the ultimate jackpot number, 3, 4, 7, 36, 39, 40. Everybody was literally going crazy. I mean, think about it. You just won $20 million. In a media source, it says, quote, employees at the Waffle House were ecstatic for Tonda and for themselves. Now, come to find out, there was actually 2 winners with the same number. So each was to get about $10 million. Still, that in today's money apparently is over $18 million. Now, we do not know till this day exactly what kind of conversation went on after they won the lottery, or even before, what kind of real pact or verbal contract that they had, but everybody seemed to agree, hey, we were supposed to split the winnings. But Tonda Dickerson said, nope, I won finders keepers. Tonda would actually quit her Waffle House job that day and decided to celebrate with her family. Now, there's 2 choices of how to claim this money. You can actually get a lump sum. After taxes, it was about $5 million that she could keep, or you could split it into 30 installments, which is about $333,000 for 30 years. Tonda and her family really planned out within a couple of days what to do with the money. So she actually decided to split the money between her family. So about almost 50% would go to her and her husband. The remaining percentages would be split between her parents. And they actually did something pretty smart, which was to create a business account. Because if you have all that much money, I mean, you might be paying more taxes. And there's like all these laws with taxes, gifting taxes and things like that. So to keep it safe, they decided to create a corporation. But when Tonda went to go claim her money, the lottery company said, sorry, you have pending legal cases against you and the money is locked until you get this solved. Now, it turns out the coworkers at the Waffle House were angry. They were like, excuse me? We had this verbal agreement and contract between all of us, and now that you won, you're gonna back out? Nope. They were furious, so they decided to gather up lawyers and sue Tonda. We don't know if maybe the Waffle House workers tried to contact Tonda within those couple of days, she didn't reply, or what conversation went back and forth, but it seemed like Tonda was not budgeting. She's like, nope, this is my money. So from then on, less than a month since winning the lottery, the case began. Or maybe Tonda's curse of the lottery began. So the 4 waitresses and waiters at the Waffle House sued her for saying that they had a verbal agreement. This was kind of like hard to prove also at the same time because it was verbal. It's not written down in a contract. So they had to bring witnesses and testimonials. They also claimed that they wanted a lump sum and not an installment. There were a couple witnesses, one of the witnesses being a couple, I guess a customer, regular at the Waffle House that heard everybody say that they were going to split. Edward, the person who gifted the lottery ticket, was also a witness claiming that yes, there was a verbal agreement. Of course, Tonda's side say that no, they're lying. They're like jealous, greedy people coming out of the woodwork claiming that they want the prize too when I won. And Tonda's side claimed that there was absolutely no verbal contract. Even if there was a fleeting comment or funny joke mention by, haha, yeah, we should all split. It was something like that, not an actual verbal agreement. And in the beginning, there were offers of mediation. Tonda was offered either 30 or 40% of the winnings, so it would be around $3 million, and the rest would be split between all the other coworkers. And Tonda said, nope. Tonda saw them as unfair, greedy, shady, which could be absolutely possible if you had somebody win a lottery ticket and you didn't. You might feel a little salty and say, hey, give us a little money. Now, after a long dispute, only 45 minutes into the deliberation, the jurors agreed 5-2, the plaintiff, 4 of them, deserved their piece of the lottery, and each of them, including Tonda, would get 20%. And overall, the court agreed that there was significant findings that there was a verbal contract. Now, after the first trial, the co-workers were ecstatic because they did technically win. On interviews, they were talking about what they wanted to buy, what they wanted to do with the money. Tonda again said nope and appealed the case. Now this time, what Tonda and her lawyers argued was interesting. They basically said deciding to split between the money was actually illegal in Alabama because that is a form of gambling. So technically, no. Tonda also argued that the other staff had each individual tickets for themselves and it wasn't purchased with joint money. And they first argued, well, technically, Edward was the owner of this ticket in the beginning because he had the ticket of Tonda's the day of the drawing, and he decided to gift it after the drawing and gifted it to Tonda. So now whatever happened to the ticket was Tonda's. Now meanwhile, during all these cases, Tonda still worked at another Waffle House chain to still support her legal fees because she just never knew and she didn't have the money quite yet. And in an amazing, crazy appeal, the court actually sided with Tonda and reversed the first judgment, saying that yes, Tonda was a sole winner and she does not have to share, which made Tonda a pretty unlikable character to the town and a lot of people. But that was not all with the legal lawsuits involving money. Now Edward, the man who gifted Tonda the ticket, was angry. He was like, this is not why I share the tickets with everybody. Like, I did this out of the generosity and wanting to share the happiness with everybody. For one person to be greedy and go back on their words, and he decided to sue Tonda. Edward in this lawsuit argued that he deserved a pickup truck from Tonda because that was the agreement. Again, verbal agreement that Tonda was to buy him a pickup truck if she won. Edward argued that Tonda misrepresented herself, that everybody that he gave out the ticket to was to go through this under 2 conditions, and Tonda did not follow up with them, so this should be void. Now this case was hard because he didn't really have a lot of witnesses. Stephen tried to argue that there was a legitimate conversation, but he wasn't able to prove that, and basically it seemed like an iffy conversation, like it was involving like a third party. There was 3 people there. He didn't actually mention the pickup truck to Tonda herself, but told another staff member. Like, it was a little confusing. So the court did dismiss this case. And amidst all of this, apparently Tonda was also going through a divorce with her second husband, James. Now it gets even worse. And I'm telling you, when you have a lot of money and everybody knows, everybody will come out of the woodworks, and you might see the real character of everybody, including you if you won. Now, only a few days into the dismissal case of Stephen versus Tonda, Tonda would be kidnapped. She was kidnapped by her ex-husband named Stacy Martin. It's unclear exactly why he kidnapped her, but I guess we can safely guess that this was probably involving money, because Stacy, the ex-husband, was actually charged 3 months prior of breaking into Tonda's apartment. So we don't know if she had the money at this point, but Tonda was still working a day job. So one day at 6:30 a.m., she was about to go to work. She went inside of a car. She was about to drive. That's when her ex-husband literally broke into the car and made her go into the passenger side, and he was driving her somewhere. And throughout the whole ride, Stacy would threaten Tonda that he was going to kill her. Eventually, he took her to a boat launch in an isolated area somewhere in Mississippi. And eventually, when they got to the destination in this isolated area, her phone rang the second time. And she was able to convince Stacy, saying that if I don't pick it up, they're going to be looking for me and you're going to be in trouble. So the ex-husband did allow her to pick the phone up, I'm sure in the condition of tell them that you're okay. And when she was reaching for her purse, she actually had a gun with her as well. And I'm sure at this point she knew that something can happen because her name was everywhere. She pulled the gun out and quickly fired at the ex-husband. He was shot in the right chest and was in a critical condition, and Tonda drove her ex-husband to the hospital and called the police and explained everything. She was not charged, and we do not know if the ex-husband was charged for kidnapping. Now, did her ex-husband James get a portion of the money? Nobody knows. Now things seem to be pretty peaceful after that until fast forward to 2012. Tonda was hit with another huge legal battle, this time with the actual IRS, you guys. In 2012, the IRS claimed that Tonda owed them $800,000 in gift taxes. I am not really familiar with this whole tax and money thing, but apparently when she gifted the money to her family, her parents and the siblings, they were supposed to pay additional gifting taxes and they didn't. Tonda made a gift in the amount of over $2 million when she transferred her shares from her company to her family. And so this time, Tonda also stood up for herself and said, nope, I do not owe that much taxes. At this point, I'm like, damn, Tonda is actually like pretty like strong mentally because I went through one lawsuit, you guys, it was draining. Oh my God. So I don't know how she went through like 3-4 lawsuits. In this lawsuit, Tonda claimed that this was not a gift to her family because, quote, she had an agreement with her family that if she ever won the lottery, she would share it with them, which is ironic because that was the exact argument she was going against in her first lawsuit with her coworkers. Now, ultimately, this argument also went against her because gambling was illegal in Alabama, so you can't technically share it with other people or have this verbal agreement. So ultimately, Tonda did lose a legal battle. And one of the reasons was that they didn't purchase the tickets all together and they didn't have a partnership and own the tickets. But the court did say because the value of her ticket was lower than the actual original value due to her past lawsuits and time passing, they did discount her gift value from over $2 million to now a little over $1 million, lowering the total amount of taxes she had to pay into about half. With all the legal battles, time passing, taxes, gifting, we really don't know how much Tonda actually kept for herself, but it was probably a lot lower than you probably would have wanted. But still, it's free money. Why not? It's still good. Now, it seems like this is what Tonda looks like currently. Rumors have it that she has been working as a poker dealer in Mississippi, and she has been working still time to time. So first, do you think Tonda was the one lying or the coworkers? And if so, do you think that this was a curse or a karma on Tonda's side for lying herself if that was true? Or was it still a blessing and everything is still a lesson learned? And what would you have done in Tonda's position? Or if you were in the coworker's position, would you have sued that person as well? Would you feel the sudden urge of greed? You would feel like, well, I won, it's not fair that I have to share with everybody. Would you hate the person that who won for not sharing and going back on their words? I personally do think that once you say something, you do have to keep your word. Otherwise, it's going to be bad karma, especially with that amount of money. In my opinion, if I did win the lottery, you guys, I am not telling anybody. Like, I'm gonna literally have an NDA with my own family as well for them to not tell anybody and remain anonymous because there's going to be many people who will want your money. It's like showcasing your wallet to everybody. Hey, come here, come here. So remember, if you have any case submissions of what I should cover next, askgrazy@gmail.com, email me there, and see you guys in my next video.